The big stories this week: Hillary Clinton makes a pit stop at UNCG.
North Carolina A&T's financial aid office pushes an important deadline up.
And the NCAA strips basketball games out of Greensboro due to the HB2 bill.
That's all coming up here on Aggie News and Views.
Welcome to Aggie News and Views, and thank you for joining us. I'm Dominique Moody.
And I'm Marilyn Parker. We start today's show off with an update from the Financial Aid Office. The free application for federal student aid, also known as the FAFSA, can now be accessed at an earlier date. Students at A&T received an email stating that the application could be submitted as early as October 1st.
First come, first serve is still in full effect, and parents will no longer have to guesstimate the amount of income for the year, as they will submit tax returns from 2015. The A&T school code is 002905 and is required to complete the application.
Housing and Residence Life had to take a few different routes this year for student living quarters. I had the opportunity to go out and get more on the story. North Carolina A&T had record-breaking enrollment numbers for the fall semester, but with an overflow of freshmen and the lack of dorm space, continuing students were forced to live off campus.
There were different things that had us choose campus evolution. One was that we had to check the crime records for both places, and campus evolution was a little more favorable. Also, they were able to put us in 3 buildings, and they were just our students in those 3 buildings.
The apartment rates match the highest rates for housing on A&T's campus, but come with more amenities.
It was furnished. The utilities, of course, like on campus, was included. They had washer and dryer in every apartment, and we don't have that here. Mensa mentioned continuing students were given free parking decals provided by Campus Evolution Villages, and the university shuttle service Park and Ride added a new stop to its route within the apartment complex to accommodate those students. Students living in those apartments are encouraged to contact either the Greensboro or University Police Department if in danger, as both are collaborating for student safety.
A partnership between North Carolina A&T, UNCG, and GTCC has nursing students from the university excited about the opportunities at the new Union campus. I was able to take a look at how the campus is helping the new generation of nurses.
In the east and in the west.
In the east and in the west.
Aggie nurses are the best.
Aggie nurses are the best.
The Union Square campus is a new nursing partnership between North Carolina A&T, University of North Carolina at Greensboro, and Cone Health. This $37 million project was designed for practicing nurses and college students looking to enhance their medical skills. While college students are taught by nursing professionals, they also get a hands-on experience working with patients, with state-of-the-art classrooms, medical devices, and get this, real-life mannequins who have the ability to blink and sweat. The campus allows students who already have a bachelor's degree in another medical discipline to be a part of the program as well.
We really enjoy and just bumped it up a notch with technology.
Just like Kira Gardner, who already has a bachelor's degree from East Carolina University. Gardner is just one of many students taking advantage of the opportunities at the nursing facility.
I love working with the mannequins. The mannequins are so realistic. It really gives you a great environment type deal going. I feel like you really can take what you know from the classroom setting and really transpire it into the lab setting.
The Union Square campus serves as an initiative of opportunity at Greensboro, bringing together leaders from Greensboro businesses, foundations, and higher education institutions. For Aggie News and Views, I'm Dominique Moody. Now, despite the construction still happening, the nursing students are still able to learn in a safe and, believe it or not, noise-free environment. The Union Square facility is located at 104 Eastgate City Boulevard in Greensboro.
Pretty soon, store shelves that hold antibacterial soap will be used for other products. The FDA has issued a final rule to ban antibacterial soap and body washes that contain certain ingredients. A total of 19 ingredients were proved to be unsafe and non-effective for long-term uses. In a written statement by Dr. Janet Woodcock, director of the FDA Center for Drug Evaluation and Research, she stated that consumers may think antibacterial washes are more effective at preventing the spread of germs, but we have no scientific evidence that they are any better than plain soap and water. Companies will have a year to either remove the ingredients or no longer market their products before the final rule takes effect on September 7th, 2017.
Having the worst anti-LGBT law in the nation on the books is deadly for the North Carolina economy.
House Bill 2 strikes again, but this time it takes a toll on the city of Greensboro. Passed by Governor Pat McCrory, a main controversy is that the law prevents transgenders from using government-run bathrooms corresponding to the gender that they choose to identify by.
Now, the NCAA has removed 2 events from the city of Greensboro, and check it out, this includes the first and second round of the men's basketball tournament. We were also told that the NCAA is currently looking for different places to host this event.
To find a new governor come November.
I spoke with House Representative Chris Skro, who is also known as a political specialist.
The NCAA tournaments that we have lost are critical to Greensboro being able to be competitive on a national level. They're something that we have long been proud of.
According to ACC Commissioner John Swafford, the men's basketball tournament will return in 2019, but the women's is permanently removed.
And we've known for quite some time that we were going to lose events like the NCAA tournaments that we have lost tonight if we didn't fix the situation, and he declined to do that.
Coming up in sports, Noah Daniels gives us an update on a historic win by North Carolina A&T's football team. He also dives into the volleyball Spartan Aggie Invitational and lets us know if the cross-country team is keeping up with the competition.
It's been a historic start to the fall semester in Aggie land. In a dramatic comeback, the football team needed 4 overtimes to get the program's first win over Division I-A school. The volleyball team opened the 5th annual Spartan Aggie Invitational with a win. An Aggie who twice last season was the MEAC cross-country runner of the week is continuing his winning ways, and Aggies are hitting the links for the first time ever as women's golf tees off its first inaugural season. But what a great way to start the football season. The defending HBCU national champions opened 2016 on September 3rd as St. Augustine's rolled into Aggie Stadium. The 2016 Aggies are looking to build on last year's 10-win season with goals of winning the MEAC outright and another HBCU national championship. Leading the way for the Aggies will be senior running back Tariq Cohen, the reigning MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. But it was the defense that got the Aggies going early. Linebacker Jeremy Taylor gets to the Falcons quarterback, causing a fumble. Julius Reynolds pounces on the ball to give the Aggies the ball deep in St. Augustine's territory. A couple plays later, Tariq Cohen takes off the handoff, bounces outside, then darts back inside to cross the goal line from 6 yards out to give the Aggies their first score of the season. Later on in the first quarter, Lamar Rayner hits Denzel Keys on a quick slant from the 5-yard out to put the Aggies on top 14-0. The Aggies go to receiver hauls in his 16th career touchdown catch, and there's a lot of loving going on in the stands. The Aggie D held on once again, forcing a Falcon punt. Don't teams know not to punt it to Chris Garden yet? Garden takes the punt and rolls to the outside untouched, 46 yards into the end zone, and the Aggies roll to a 62-0 shutout over St. Augustine's. The Aggies won't have such an easy time with the Division I-A Kent State. After falling behind 10-0, the Aggies finally get on the scoreboard in the third quarter, with tight end Leroy Hill scoring from 6 yards out, a perfectly paced ball by Khalil Carter. Tariq Cohen makes a quick cut and runs for a 33-yard touchdown. But wait a minute, there's a flag on the play. Penalty on the Aggies, and it's coming back. Then the Aggies go for a little razzle-dazzle. Cohen takes the handoff and end around and throws to quarterback Owifemi Bamiro. Yet another penalty on the Aggies. Illegal man downfield. Negates the touchdown, but Cohen decides to do it on his own and scores from 2 yards out to send the game into overtime. With Kent State up by 3, Quadruple overtime at this point. A touchdown wins it for the Aggies. Bamiro looks right for Denzel Keys, who's one-on-one with an all-MAC corner. Keys manhandles him and takes the ball out of the air, loses his hat in the process to win it for the Aggies. The first win over Division I-A opponent in A&T history. Unfortunately, the Aggies came back to earth, and no Division I-A program was going to let the A&T sneak up on them 2 times in a row, as Tulsa rolled over the blue and gold 58-21 last Saturday in Oklahoma. Still, the Aggies fought to the end, scoring the last 21 points after falling behind 58-0. The Aggies have a week off before 3 straight national televised Thursday night games on ESPNU. The first 2 weeks of these midweek games will be in Aggie Stadium against MEAC rivals Hampton on September 29th and Norfolk State October 6th. The volleyball team has struggled early in the season against some pretty good teams from within the state. Currently, the team has only 2 wins in their last 11 matches, but 3 of the losses went to 5 sets. One of the squad's win was against Hampton in the opening match of the Spartan Aggie Invitational, a tournament A&T co-hosts with UNCG. Josh Lowry has highlights from the Hampton and UNC matches.
Opening night of the Spartan Aggie Classic for the A&T volleyball team took place on September 9th. The Aggies already have 6 matches under their belt from matches against Elon, East Carolina, and 4 matches in the Alabama State MEAC SWAC tournament. First point of the match, a good rally from both teams until Aggie Samara Brown drops a little dink spike on the Pirate side, giving the Aggies the lead. Kanaya Rivera serves for the Aggies. Hampton has a bit of trouble handling the return, and the spike goes long as the Aggies increase their lead. If you like long rallies, this is the point for you. Liz Martino is serving for the Aggies. Just sit back and enjoy the point. Finally, Hampton hits it out, resulting in another point for the Aggies. Rivera digs out the Pirate serve. Martino sets up Alyssa Pitt, who slams it home without a doubt. Tabora Hawkins-Hollingsworth also scores for the Aggies as A&T defeats Hampton in 3 straight sets. The next morning, the Aggies traveled across town to take on UNCG in Fleming Gym. Again, it's Samara Brown scoring for the Aggies late in the 3rd set. Brown now serving. The Spartans get it back over where Kayla Finnerty sets up Alyssa Pitt, but her spike is dug out by UNCG, and the Spartans will find the open court to win the point. Brown receives the serve. Finnerty this time sets up Layla Hainsworth on the outside, and she powers it through 2 UNCG blockers. Point Aggies. Jasmine Lindor now serving for A&T. A good hard serve gives the Spartans some trouble getting it back over. This allows Finnerty to set up Alyssa Pitt on the other side, and Pitt with the kill to keep the Aggies in the match. Match point. Liz Martino serves to keep A&T in the match. UNCG is able to put the final point away, and the Spartans sweep the Aggies in the annual battle of Greensboro's 2 premier universities in the Spartan Aggie Invitational. For Aggie News and Views, I'm Joshua Lowry.
Thanks, Josh. Volleyball starts MEAC play this weekend on the road at Savannah State and South Carolina State, before coming back to Moore Gym for a 3-game homestand in early October. The men and women's cross-country team ran at the Elon Invitational. Dominique Moody has more on the story.
It was a beautiful day for a run September 10th at Elon University, and all kinds of Aggie pride was out in full force. The men started out the morning with their first 8K of the season. A&T was one of 5 schools participating, along with Avery, Furnham, North Carolina Central, and Elon. All MEAC performer Darren White got out to an early lead for the Aggies, followed in second place by Hakeem Mustafa. A pack of Aggies ran together inside the top 15. This group included Marquise McGee, Coy Brown, Daquan Maddox, and DeMonte Ward. Walter Brown and Corey Aiken were also running for the Aggies. We move to 2/3 of the way through the course. A golf cart leads the runners out of the woods next to a lake, and Darren White has retained the race lead, but he is being pursued by almost the entire Elon team. Inside the top 10 is Hakeem Mustafa, and he too is being pursued by the rest of the Elon team. Marquise McGee is just outside the top 10, while Aggie teammates DeMonte Ward and Daquan Maddox ran alongside the Cookie Monster. Also staying in the top 20 is Coy Brown. But when all was said and done, Darren White pulled away at the end for the victory for the Aggies, a feat which garnered him MEAC Male Cross Country Athlete of the Week. Hakeem Mustafa sprints to the finish in 9th place, while Marquise McGee ends up in 10th. Darren White tells us winning the race wasn't easy.
Elon is pretty tough course to me, kind of hilly, lots of bumps and stuff, so I'm just glad I came out here and got the win. We did pretty good. We can still get better, closer together, but we're headed in the right direction.
The gun sounded for the ladies 5K again, A&T running with the same 5 schools. Different from the men's race, this time early in the race, we find an Aggie chasing Elon runners. The Phoenix take up the top 5 spots, followed by Aggie's Miranda Green and Camilla Martin. Next up for A&T, Imani Coleman, Christoni Barnes, and Khadijah Reed. Green and Martin still lead the Aggies at the halfway point as head coach Dwayne Ross offers encouragement. Coleman, Barnes, and Reed run together inside the top 10. Miranda Green will cross the finish line first for the Aggies in 6th place overall, while Camille Martin comes in 7th, Imani Coleman in 9th, and Christoni Barnes in 10th. Next up for the Aggies on October 1st is the Robert Shoemake HBCU Classic in Cary. For Aggie News and Views, I'm Dominique Moody.
Thanks, Dominique. Well, the wait is finally over. After announcing A&T will sponsor women's golf 2 years ago, a coach with long-standing ties to A&T has been hired. A team has been assembled, and the Aggies have taken their first swings and putts in competition. The Aggies finished 10th out of 12 Division I schools, competing September 12th and 13th at the Murray State Invitational in Kentucky. However, the Aggies team score improved significantly in each of the 3 rounds, which pleased Coach Richard Watkins. Watkins has been a golf instructor for over 40 years, most notably at Gillespie Golf Course in Greensboro. Watkins earned a master's degree from A&T and had been teaching at A&T since 1992. He is the former head coach of the Aggie baseball team and at one time was the head coach of a club team in golf at A&T. He will also be the head coach of the men's team when it starts play in the fall of 2017. The first golf team in school history is led by 2 juniors and 3 freshmen. Finishing in the top 20 out of over 70 golfers in the Murray State Invitational was junior transfer Jill Harvison, who was one of the only 7 golfers to shoot at par or better during one of the rounds. Junior Sophia Alvarez finished in a tie for 33rd. Rounding out the scoring for the Aggies was a trio of freshmen, Erica Jackson, Jocelyn Andrews, and Deja Smith. A&T's next match will be close to home in the UNCG Invitational October 3rd through 4th at Starmount Forest Country Club in Greensboro. We'll have highlights from the tournament on our next show, as well as more football and volleyball highlights. But that will do it for today. Thanks for joining me. I'm Noah Danswater. Now back to you, Dominique.
Thank you, Noah. Hillary Clinton is back on the campaign trail after she was diagnosed with pneumonia. Clinton made her first stop here in Greensboro at the Recreational Center on UNCG's campus. Let's take a look.
I have to say it's great to be back on the campaign trail. I'm under the weather. I can afford to take a few days off. Millions of Americans can't. I am running for everyone working hard to support their families. Everyone who's been knocked down but gets back up. I'm I'm running for the LGBT teenager here in North Carolina who sees your governor sign a bill legalizing discrimination and suddenly feels like a second-class citizen. Look at what's happening with the NCAA and the ACC. This is where bigotry leads, and we can't afford it, not here, not anywhere else in America. When I meet a little boy in Flint, Michigan, who can't drink the water at home or in school because it's poisoned with lead, that gets me going. All I want to do is get to work, making things better for them. That's why I care so much about national security, too. I want to give our kids a safer world.
The Clinton campaign also made an appearance here on our campus with members of the Mothers of the Movement group. The event took place in Merrick Hall Auditorium. Just over 200 students came out to hear the mothers of Eric Garner, Sandra Bland, and Dontroy Hamilton. The women shared their thoughts on racism and the importance of voting in this presidential race.
Your vote is important. You understand? Do not open your mouth to tell another individual it doesn't matter. Because if it didn't matter, you would have millionaires trying to keep it from you.
Students were given time for pictures after the panel, as well as registering to vote.
Breaking news overnight, a black man was gunned down by a police officer in Charlotte just days after a similar police shooting occurred in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Terrence Crusher's car was abandoned in the middle of the road Friday when Officer Betty Shelby fatally shot him. Take a look.
I think. Got a feeling that's about to happen.
You can see here Crutcher's hands are up, and shortly after he is on the ground. Controversies arose when the investigation began with questions like, was Crutcher's driver's side window up or down? Were there drugs inside the vehicle? And whether or not he was armed.
And in Charlotte, Keith Scott was killed by officers in an apartment complex parking lot. Authorities say Scott exited his vehicle with a gun in hand, and when he was asked to lower his weapon, he refused, and he was shot. Scott's death sparked protests, and a GoFundMe page was made to support the Scott family.
The annual career fair brought companies like Google, Twitter, and Microsoft to North Carolina A&T's campus, which made students prepared to land internships and full-time positions, as reporter Sierra Hyvee has more on the story.
From 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., students and alumni are here networking with the top companies at North Carolina A&T Fall Career Fair.
I expected a lot of great students from all different areas, a lot of employers competing for the same students, a lot of students that are looking for internship and full-time opportunities.
When I come here, I am always amazed at the knowledge and the skills that they hold.
It has really improved since the first one that I came to, which was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. But just the organization of it and just the interaction that we can have with the students at the banquet, the information sessions, that all puts a different spin on how we look at candidates.
Networking is very important. Absolutely. Okay. Getting out, getting to introduce yourself and getting involved in organizations.
You don't want to show up game time and not prepare, right? You want to make sure that you are well prepared in the off season. So when it's lights, camera, action, you're ready to go.
Here, just wanting to build some connections, show my face, at least get the company to know me and get to know the company a little more. And out of it, I got offered an internship. It's a pretty good day.
For Aggie News and Views, I'm Sierra Hyvee.
Gabrielle Cook is here with us with an update on what's going on in entertainment. Gabby, what do you have for us?
After disappointing students by not releasing the lineup at the org fair, the Student Union Activities Board hosted a block party to appease the anxious fans. I was there to capture the event. Let's take a look.
Dancing, rapping, and even modeling were featured on the SUAB block party stage. All leading up to the most anticipated announcement of the school year, the 2016 Greatest Homecoming on Earth concert lineup. The GHO lineup was supposed to be announced at the annual org fair. However, that was not the case. Even without the announcement, tickets still go on sale, which left mixed emotions all over the university.
it's kind of like a gamble because you don't know who you paying to see. I'd rather I know who I'm paying before I buy my ticket.
Throughout the night, students and other members of the Greensboro community sang, laughed, and shared fun to kick off this year's homecoming season. For Aggie News and Views, I'm Gabrielle Cook.
And one of the biggest announcements made at the block party is the Jiho lineup. This year's concert will feature performances by Lil Uzi Vert, Party Next Door, Young Thug, Young M.A., and Young Dolph. Downtown Greensboro celebrated its 76th annual folk festival. There were special music appearances by DJ Grandmaster Flash and, of course, a variety of food and interesting things to do. The event lasted for 3 days, and locals are looking forward to next year. That's all we have for entertainment. Back at the news desk.
A&T students and alumni are known for their entrepreneurial spirit.
That's right. Recent graduate Ronell Miller has created an innovative crowdfunding he called Sponsor for Change, which he hopes brings accountability to money-raising sites asking for donations. Sponsor for Change purchases the actual products and services that people are raising funds for. This is designed to protect the supporters' donation. With fraud abounding on many crowdfunding sites, Mr. Miller realized people were not reaching their financial goals, and he set out to change the industry.
Greetings, my name is Ronell Miller and I'm a rebel because I want to change the world by creating ethical behavior in crowdfunding. I created this new method in crowdfunding that will actually buy the products or services that people are raising money for on these crowdfunding sites. The company is Sponsor for Change and is set to launch this month. Another issue that we're tackling in crowdfunding right now is that people are raising more money than what they're asking for. What are they doing with that extra money? Sponsor for Change would give that extra money to a nonprofit partner that's on our site, which will continue to change the world and support these nonprofits that need help. So the big question of the day is, why am I doing this? Why have I continued to do this? Why have I devoted so much of my time? I'm doing this because a rebel knows that a revolution cannot be started alone. With that being said, I want to raise the bar in ethical behavior, not just in crowdfunding. I want this to matriculate and go to different things in the world that we need to hold people accountable for. I want this to spark the change. I want this to be a real revolution that's everlasting. That's why I'm doing this. To give you all a little bit of my background, I'm a young black man from Southern California. Growing up, I thought that the way out was doing sports, doing music, that this is the only thing that I can do to get out of my current situation. I came from a single parent household. I wanted to take care of my mom, and I thought that was the only way I can do it. I dropped all of that. I was a rebel. I got tired of those stereotypes and all that other stuff. And I followed my dreams. I wanted to own a business by the time I graduated. I did it. Sponsor for Change is right now. It's going to happen. It's going to change the world. This is what it's about. Following your dreams. Stop going with the flow. Stop going with what society tells us to do and do what you want to do. Make your life happen and take control of it. Follow your destiny and everything else will fall into place. That's what it's about. Sponsor for Change is not just a business, it's a lifestyle.
We wish fellow Aggie, Mr. Miller, the best, and we want to give thanks to Christina Somerville for reaching out to Mr. Miller and putting this piece together.
We want to thank you for tuning in to our first show of the year. Please be sure to follow us on social media for more updates. As always, I'm Dominique Moody.
And I'm Marilyn Parker. We will see you next time here on Aggie News and Views.